Hello everyone, and welcome back to our series on the Ottoman Empire. In the last episode, we saw how Orhan Gazi turned a small frontier principality into a real, organized power, even setting foot in Europe for the first time. Today, we're diving into the story of his son, Murad I. He's the ruler who took that opportunity and turned it into total dominance. He pushed deep into the Balkans and truly transformed the Ottomans into an empire in the making. This is a story of conquest, reform, and ultimate sacrifice. This is the era of Murad I. When Murad I took the throne in 1362, he didn't inherit a small tribe like his grandfather. He inherited a strong, growing state with land in both Anatolia and Europe. But this created huge challenges. How do you supply troops across the sea? How do you govern people on two different continents? Murad knew one simple truth: expand or be destroyed. So, from day one, he ruled with incredible discipline and a long-term vision. He wasn't just thinking about the next battle, he was thinking about the next century. One of his first and most brilliant moves was relocating the capital. He moved it from Bursa in Anatolia all the way to Adrianople in Europe, which we know today as This was a revolutionary decision. It sent a crystal clear message to the world. The Ottomans were not just raiding Europe, they were there to stay. Erdogan became the new military and political heart of the empire, a perfect launchpad for campaigns deeper into the Balkans. This move shocked the European powers. The Ottomans were no longer just a border threat, they were a European power. With Erdogan as his base, Murad unleashed a storm of campaigns across the Balkans. One by one, cities and regions fell under Ottoman control: Thrace, Macedonia, and parts of Bulgaria. But Murad was a smart conqueror. He often let local rulers keep their power and their people keep their religion, as long as they paid taxes and stayed loyal. This practical approach reduced rebellions and made governing much easier. The Ottoman footprint in Europe was growing at a shocking pace, and a wave of fear was spreading across the Christian kingdoms. Now, to fuel this expansion, Murad needed a truly elite army. Under his rule, the famous Janissary Corps was fully formed. These weren't your typical feudal soldiers who fought for a local lord. The Janissaries were a professional, standing army, loyal only to the Sultan. They were trained from a young age, paid by the state, and equipped with the best weapons. While European armies were still relying on temporary levies, the Ottomans had a permanent, disciplined fighting force that became the backbone of their military might. The Janissaries were feared, respected, and for a long time, practically unstoppable. In 1371, a coalition of Balkan forces decided to push back. They gathered their armies and marched to stop the Ottomans at the Battle of Marit, but they severely underestimated their opponent. Murad's general launched a daring surprise attack in the middle of the night, completely crushing the coalition army. The defeat was a catastrophe for Balkan resistance. After Maritsa, the path was wide open. Many regional rulers chose to submit to the Ottomans rather than face certain destruction. This battle cemented the Ottomans as the dominant power in Southeast Europe. But Murad wasn't just a conqueror. He was a state. He understood that you couldn't hold an empire together with force alone. He established a system of governance that combined Islamic law with local customs, making the transition to Ottoman rule smoother. Taxes were predictable, and religious communities were generally protected. For many common people living under the constant warfare of petty lords, Ottoman rule actually brought stability and a sense of order. Murad was building an empire not just through conquest, but through administration. This all came to a head in 1389. A massive, unified European army met the Ottomans at the Battle of Kosovo. It was one of the largest and most brutal battles of the era. Both sides fought with incredible courage and suffered devastating losses. In the end, the Ottomans claimed victory, securing their hold on the Balkans. But it came at a terrible price. Murad I was assassinated on the battlefield, the only Ottoman sultan to ever die in combat. His death was a shock to the empire, but his legacy was secure. He had turned a principality into a true empire, established a permanent home in Europe, and created the institutions that would ensure Ottoman dominance for centuries to come.
Murad I wasn't just a conqueror. He was a brilliant lawgiver. As the empire grew at a breakneck pace, Murad knew that without order, chaos would surely follow. So, he took decisive action. He strengthened the Konon, the imperial legal system which worked hand in hand with Islamic law. Think of it as a comprehensive rule book for the empire. Land ownership, taxation, military duties, and the responsibilities of every administrator were all clearly defined. This was a genius move. It stopped local governors from getting too powerful and creating their own little kingdoms. It made sure that loyalty was directed towards the state and the sultan, not just to individual commanders. This careful balance between religious tradition and secular administration became a cornerstone of Ottoman governance for centuries to come. By Murat's time, the Ottoman population was a vibrant mix of cultures and faiths. You had Muslims, of course, but also large communities of Christians and Jews alongside many different ethnic groups. Now, many rulers of that era would have tried to force everyone to convert. But Murad was different. He implemented a policy of tolerance that was remarkably ahead of its time. Instead of forcing religious conversion, he allowed these communities to manage their own internal affairs under the millet system. Churches and synagogues remained open. Local customs and languages were respected. And here's the kicker, for many people, the taxes under Ottoman rule were actually lower and more predictable than what they paid under their previous feudal European lords. This wasn't just about being nice. It was incredibly smart politics. This policy helped the empire grow peacefully from within, winning the hearts and minds of its new subjects, not just conquering their lands by force. As Ottoman armies pushed deeper into the Balkans, a wave of fear washed over Europe. From the halls of kings to the chambers of the Pope, nobles and rulers sent urgent letters, warning of this formidable new power rising from the east. To some, Murad was a dire threat to Christianity, an invader to be stopped at all costs. But others, seeing the writing on the wall, quietly started negotiating treaties, hoping to secure their own borders. The truth is, European unity was a myth. The continent was plagued by internal rivalries, with kingdoms more interested in fighting each other than in forming a united front. The Ottomans, and Murad in particular, exploited this division masterfully. While Europe's leaders argued and bickered amongst themselves, the Ottoman Empire just kept advancing, step by unstoppable step. So, what was Murad I like as a leader? He ruled with a unique blend of iron discipline and genuine humility. Unlike so many monarchs of his time who reveled in luxury and excess, Murad lived a relatively simple life. He wasn't a distant, untouchable figure. He actively listened to his advisors, valuing their counsel. He would personally inspect his troops, getting to know the men who fought for him. He firmly believed that leadership was about service, not about personal indulgence. This down-to-earth attitude earned him immense respect, not just from his soldiers, but from his administrators as well. The Ottoman army didn't fight merely out of fear of punishment. They fought with a fierce loyalty to a sultan they genuinely admired. The Battle of Kosovo ended in a stunning Ottoman victory, but it came at a huge cost, the death of the Sultan himself. In that moment, as news of Murad's assassination spread, panic could have easily ripped through the army. A lesser state would have collapsed. But Murad's system held firm. This was his ultimate triumph. On the battlefield itself, command passed smoothly and immediately to his son, Bayezid. There was no power vacuum, no rebellion from ambitious generals, no Chaltic retreat. The empire simply continued forward, its momentum unbroken. This seamless transition was the ultimate testament to Murad's incredible foresight, his meticulous preparation, and his enduring vision for a stable, permanent empire. So, why did Murad I change history? He accomplished what very few rulers in the history of the world ever have. He transformed rapid expansion into permanent, stable rule. He turned battlefield victories into effective governance. He took a regional power, a small village, and forged it into a true continental force that would dominate the world stage for centuries. Without Murad, the story of the Ottomans would be vastly different. There would be no vast Balkan Empire. The legendary conquest of Constantinople might never have happened. There would be no Ottoman Golden Age under rulers like Suleiman the Magnificent. Murad I was the crucial bridge between the empire's humble foundations and its ultimate domination. He was the architect of an empire built to last. Thanks for watching, and be sure to follow for more deep dives into history.